Episode of Axon's Facebook Live Q&A. I just sort of said to the girls, it feels like a bit of old school because we've really transitioned now into doing stuff in the studio, but Daniel's away, our videographer, doing some other stuff, and Kieran, who's doing some stuff on the back end, is like, I don't know how to do all that stuff. I'm like, you know what, let's just go old school. So yeah, and you can see I'm not joined by two other buffhead blokes tonight. I'm joined by two amazing ladies in the Axon team, the build support team leader, Franny, and her wonderful build support team member, Caitlin. Hello, girls. How are you?
Hi, mate. We're good.
We're good. Glad to be back.
What are you talking so formal for? Like, we talk to you every day. No, but I feel like this has got to be like a little mini ad hoc masterclass, I suppose, about everything that goes in with the build process. But you know, we'll get to let everyone know where how we all met each other, you know, what it's like working Axon and all that sort of stuff. But just go ahead and put some stuff in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know where you're dialing in from. You know, this is a full live Q&A, even though, like I said, the flavour of it's going to be a bit of a masterclass about what goes on during the build process, just to give really, you know, everyone out there an insight into, you know, building a house is building a house is building a house. But the way Axon supports you in doing that, let me make a statement, this is not an opinion, is unmatched in the industry. So I really want all of you out there, like if you're people like watching us right now going, oh, these guys are real deal. Have they got it? You know, have they got their bloody shit together, etc. Then it'd be really interesting to see that, you know, we absolutely do. So, you know, as a veteran-owned business, giving back to predominantly the you know, veteran and defence community, when you spend 20 plus years in the military like I did, 11 of them in the Special Forces community, everything is wired tight from a systems and processes and, like, you know, access to equipment, leadership models, etc., etc. So, and then you guys got stuck with me. So apologies for that. So yeah, but happy to, like, once the chat comes up, go ahead and let us know where you're dialing in from, and you know, go ahead and go nuts with the chat. We've already had Sammy J send through an awesome question, which is, you know, not related to the build process, but we're happy to answer anything about joining the military, leaving the military, you know, or transitioning from the military, working with your spouse, whatever it is. Because the fun fact, ladies and gents, is that as you might not know, but probably you do, me and my wife started this business together 7 years ago. But Fran and her husband, Luke, work in the business, and Caitlin and her husband, James, also work in the business. So we've got 3 married couples in a team of only 16. So, yeah, that's interesting. Isn't that interesting? It hasn't come up on Facebook yet. So that's what the team is saying, that we are not yet live on Facebook, but Luke can see us and hear us on YouTube. Anyway, it's just the 3 of us for now. It's being recorded.
We'll catch up.
Oh no!
Caitlin, tell me this. tell me the story. He's like, I'm busy.
It's live. It's live. It's raw. It's real.
Caitlin, your energy and your vibe and your craziness in the office is fucking unmatched, mate. And I won't lie to you, I love bringing that sort of stuff as well. That's why you and I get on so well. But tell, you know, just give everyone a bit of an insight of the story about how did you guys meet? How did you meet me? How did I
meet you?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that old chestnut of a story. So back in, what was it, 2019 or 2020, up in Darwin, and that's when James said, hey, I found someone I'm thinking about reaching out to build a house because we're due for a posting to Brisbane. And I was like, well, I don't want to go to Brisbane, and I don't want to build a house with this person. Like, that's just not happening.
That's it, Caitlin.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just skeptical from the start. And fast forward, you had a little bit of a client meet up in Darwin. Tammy brought me lots of wine, which was great. And no, I just really got to know you, and I got to know Tammy, and I got to know a few other clients there. And that's when I kind of realized, you know, you are a bit too good to be true.
I'm not the business one.
And then, yeah, you know, James and I signed on to build an investment property after our plan changed about 5 times. And then, yeah, we built an investment property, moved to the Gold Coast, and James got offered a job.
Yep. And then you got offered a job, and you guys,
and then me.
And then you guys just finished building your own amazing dream home down here on the Goldie as well. Like, it's a banging, big, beautiful coastal Hamptons Gold Coast home.
Yeah.
Bloody amazing. You should be so proud of yourself, mate. That's interesting. You yourself, even though you've like supervised about 50 people go through a build literally in the last 12 months, Fran, you've done the other 50, give or take, that you've also gone through it yourself, Caitlin, like literally. going through the build. So
yeah, that's it. And I talk to all the clients that I meet on the Build to Put introduction. I tell them exactly how I started with Axon. So yes, as a client, and then James got offered a job, and then I got offered a job, and that I was building my own home during that time as well, where I wasn't working at Axon and working at Axon. And I just said, biggest mistake in the book was just not going through Axon to build my own occupier. I said, I won't be doing that one again. That's a big mistake.
Yeah, it's just the support and the back end, overall supervision you get. Yeah. Franny, what about you, mate? You and I met a long time ago when Luke was first dating you in Tenerife across from Bulimba at one of the food and wine festivals there. And then you guys went and did the whole Timor thing. And then, you sort of came back into my life when you got back to Australia. But yeah, just give everyone a quick little insight into how you came to be wearing your Axon cape.
Yeah. So, well, you've known Luke for a long time. Investment property wise, we actually went in our own journey to start with and did our own thing. And that was very stressful. And it was the lemon in our portfolio. And after that one, Luke said, I want to do it again, but I can't do it by myself. So he already knew you and got in touch. And then we navigated the Axon journey then. And I can't emphasize
straight away when you were in Timor, hey?
And then we did 2 properties. And then returning back from Timor, Luke joined Axon more to just see what it's like, but I joined officially right away, which was fantastic. And absolutely love it.
No training time for us. We're just straight in.
Time for us.
What I love about it, girls, is that, so Franny, you've got your 2-year anniversary coming up real soon. And then Caitlin is like probably, another month or so after that. Yeah. You've got your 2-year anniversary. So it's really wonderful from me as the business owner's perspective that, sure, it's good to recruit new people just to make sure that, we've got that depth and we can continue to expand. Because as we continue to help more and more people, we need to be able to have more and more sort of bumps on seats there. So the fact that you've had 2 years under your belt now is like really, really cool. Does it seem like, has it gone pretty fast for you, Caitlin?
Oh, 100%. Every time I introduce myself on the Build Support introduction call, I'm like, and a year ago, I got offered a job. And I'm like, hold on a second. It's coming up to 2 years, actually.
So good.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, at least we know someone's listening in. Sammy Wynn, and for all those other people watching the replay, we're just getting notifications on the back end that apparently Facebook did not recognize us going live straight away. So apologies for that. But certainly if you're going to be watching the replay, you don't give a shit if it's live anyway. You're just listening to us. We're just not having too much interaction on the back end. But Sammy Wynn, thanks so much for jumping on board. If I can say, I am coaching Brett and Karen tomorrow night. Some very good friends of ours that you have put us in touch with. So thank you so much for that. They were amazing when we did our connection call. They literally got off the call and they were like buzzing, and so was I, just to sort of speak to people that were just so engaging. Like, that feeling that when you're around people, like in their presence, you can feel the energy. But when you live your life on a screen, like myself and the other coaches and property specialists do, and you girls are starting to do more and more calls now as well. You feel the energy through the screen as well, can't you? Like the ones and zeros of the interweb allow you to feel the energy. So if someone's vibrant and someone's happy and someone's engaging, or if someone's like sitting back a little bit, it's a bit of a bloody roller coaster sometimes, Franny, when you're on those calls.
So true. But no, you can definitely feel body language, tone of voice. It's halfway there, just being in person and being on the screen. We can definitely feel it. Yeah.
Speaking of which, what did we do last week, Franny? 2 client meetups. We got to see some people in Sydney. Saw about 18 to 20 people that rocked up in Sydney. One of the brand new sports bars there down at the Barangaroo Crown Precinct. And then we jumped in not the Axon Venga bus, Caitlin, that you normally drive up to the sunny coast, but where we jumped in, and it was another Kia. In fact, the 6 of us, 3.5 hours down to Canberra, and then we had about 25 people to come to Canberra. So it was really great for me to meet some people that are like been on the Axon journey only for the last couple of years, because it's been a few years since we've done a client meetup. So that was great to sort of bridge that gap. It's a bit weird. I'm like, oh, do I know you? They're like, hi, Robbie, how you doing? I'm like, what's your name again? They're like, I've seen all your videos and I've been watching. I'm like, all right, I'm not a celebrity, mate. Just fucking just chill out for a bit. But it is weird that when you get to meet people that have watched you and know so much more about you than what I knew about them. It's a bit of a weird feeling, but certainly down in Canberra, where we've had some long-time clients down there, it was excellent to see some people that I've already met before, but, to see people that I've known for 4 or 5 years, and now I'm meeting them for the first time, and they've built 2-3 houses with us. It was just a really surreal experience. What did you like most about it, Franny?
Just the clients sharing experience between each other. And also, again, the same as you just described, we're always talking to people, email, Zooms, but then seeing them face to face, like, okay, you're here. And for them, I always joke, I'm like, we're real, we exist, it's not AI. You know, you're
not AI. AI will come up with this.
Oh, it's work in progress, you know. That's
true. Yeah.
No, but you know, some of the clients don't even get to see the property and, you know, go and visit and see for real. So seeing us like we're real, we exist. But sharing, having that extra connection, and the conversations that go around the room of, you know, wow moments and struggles that, you know, clients might share between amongst each other.
Yes,
it's fantastic. It was great.
Also, Franny, hearing you speak like that, there was something else really important that happened last week as well. Can you share that with everyone?
Yes, finally Australian citizen.
Amazing.
Yeah, so been waiting for a while, but now it's done and dusted. So it was an intense day because on the back of that, straight ran to the airport to see the clients in Sydney. So I arrived there nice and happy, just full of energy and ready to talk to everyone.
So good. So how long have you, even when did you first come to Australia? Like when did you first land in Australia?
2012.
Shit. So here we are, 12 years later, you've got your citizenship.
Yeah. I wasn't in a rush, but, you know, finally got the paperwork done and sorted.
Marrying a bloody buffet ex-army officer from bloody Cowra helped a little bit, I suppose.
And I became a citizen on Wednesday, and on Saturday I went voting. So
yes, good.
My responsibilities on the same week.
Angie just said we're on such a high from all the client meetups. Yeah, Angie, you did a fantastic job down there as well. So thanks so much for getting that done. Hot off the press, finally I'm passing on something to everybody that the GM and my wife does already know about. Sammy Wynn in particular, you need to know about this. We're doing a client meetup in Brisbane. It's going to be the 20th or the 21st of
June.
Wait for it. When? So we're just looking at a Thursday or a Friday in June there. So yeah, put that in your calendars, ladies and gents. Sammy, I want to make sure that you and your mate are there for sure. So you can come and drink all of my beer and eat all of my food. You deserve it. And all that sort of stuff. So yeah, we're really looking forward to catching up. And the whole Axon team's going to be there. So even if there's only 20 people in total and there's 17 of us, then at least we'll have a good night. At least Axon can drink their own beer and drink their own food. Not a problem. We do that very well, for sure. No. But mate, we'll be. Yeah, thank you so much, Sammy. It's going to be amazing to see you there as well. What else was I going to do from an intro perspective? We've had a pretty good first quarter to the year. Like it's the third quarter of the financial year, first quarter of the calendar year. And as you know, the majority of you know, we're sort of aiming to do about 100. Well, we have for the last four or 5 years now, on average, been helping about 100 clients per year build a property, or 100 properties per year. And there's obviously sometimes, you know, quite often people come through and build multiple properties. How many were we last quarter, Franny? Can you remind me what was the last quarter of last year?
Handover wise, 30.
So 30 handovers. That's right. I documented that when we did one of our bloody Facebook lives. I'm like, fucking hell, like if we're doing 100 for a year and we just did 30 in one quarter. So I know it was a huge run up to Christmas. And obviously handover means that property becomes available for rent. Mm-hmm. And that's not when it doesn't finish for you girls then, and we'll get into the whole process in a second. That's when some would say the rubber really hits the road because the client's fully drawn on their loan and they're now desperately seeking, without being desperately seeking to get another human in there paying the majority of the mortgage for them. So obviously that whole property management, rental management, advertising, professional photos, property write-ups, making sure the floor plan's on there, making sure the map's on there, making sure like everything that we need in a super professional ad that goes up there to make sure that when the tenants see that property, they're not just impressed by where the property is, how much they're asking for rent, but what the inclusions are. And it's super easy to find, like all those little bits and pieces that go to someone even, you know, going to the open home. You know, as all of you do, you basically lay it on a platter for them. So to do all of that, and in the lead up to Christmas, it was a pretty cray end of the year.
It's a very interesting process, like creating the perfect storm so everything lines up. and having the knowledge of the market, so you can get in with the right information, right price to secure tenants as soon as possible.
Yeah.
The cherry on the top, of the Axon journey, I would say.
Yeah.
When it comes to the property itself,
Yeah.
clients are always very excited for that step to occur.
Fantastic. How many handovers have we got so far this year? First quarter? 16. Okay, great. So it's a good little steady number. It's no good. You cannot be no business, no matter who they are, no matter how long they've been going, no matter who they've got working in the business, cannot be pinging on the red line all the time.
No.
Like when we drove the car to Canberra, Dubs wasn't fucking driving it at 210 down to 300 Ks or whatever it was. The bloody engine would blow up. So you really do need to have those little peaks and troughs. And I love having quarters that are a little bit down, because it re-energizes us, and more than likely it's factors that are out of our control anyway. Availability of land, waiting for building approvals to come through. Fuck me, what a bloody process that is.
Christmas shutdown. Day.
Well, here's the thing. This quarter didn't really get started from a builder's perspective until the last week of January.
Yeah.
So, it's when I do the numbers in my head, girls, you probably don't realize this, but I'm like, give me 10 months of the year, exclude December, exclude January. They're short months anyway.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Not many people are buying a property in December. They're like, I'm fucking focusing on Christmas, or I've got a removal to do. I've got to bloody drive up to Darwin or whatever. Come back and see me next year. So, but sales, initial sales are quite high in January, because everyone's like, fuck, right. Bloody Christmas is over. Solution, fucking boom, 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 boom. And so I promise there's a big wave of clients coming mid-year that you are gladly going to then take through the process. But the fact that we're really, you've only got sort of two months and 1 week, and what have we probably got another 3 or 4 lined up to hand over between now and the end of this month?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's to do 20 or so out of and the target's 25 internal target, but still with, aiming to help 100 people get a property per year. It's a good little tempo, I suppose. Now, one of the other things we've done, of course, over the last little while is recruit some more people, because when we did our numbers in July planning day last year, and it was just the 2 of you, we're like, right, let's go and help another 100 people. And you're like, Robbie, we don't have time to breathe right now.
Yeah.
It's a really key thing, ladies and gents, that if you ever get the opportunity of being a business owner, sure, drive your team, strive to do better, invest in them, making sure that they're, living their best version of their lives as well. But fuck me, don't break people. This is not the military. You cannot, there's no DVA in the real world. If someone has a bloody, heaven forbid, some sort of bloody breakdown, then they're on their own from a medical and financial perspective. So yeah, I love it that I love that part of my leadership style, and the eyes and ears are wide open, especially for anyone, someone as considered as you. You are reasonably quietly spoken, but when you speak, I fucking listen most of the time.
I don't say much, but when I do.
Yes. So we've recruited Karina, we've recruited Kat, we've recruited Lauren, and we've recruited Kelly in the client care department since July.
Yes. Huge.
So, how does it make you feel as, even though Angie and Kelly are working in the client care department, but you just sort of just feel that there's a little bit more breathing space now. That's that the volume of clients and the amazing service we want to provide to them, like gives you guys a bit of chance to go out on the road, which I know you both frequently do.
We have, yes. And just like happier, individuals means better service, happier clients, happier company overall. It's just having the right people and the right amount of people to support to assist us providing the support that we want to provide clients. It's just,
Yeah. And the great thing about it, Caitlin, is that even though it was only 2 years ago, but still 2 years was quite a while ago, isn't it great? And I see you do it all the time. You're a wonderful mentor to some of the new girls. You're like, come over here, sit next to me, and I'll show you how to do it. It's really cool to be able to pass on and do you surprise yourself with the amount of knowledge that you've got sometimes, because remember, that's the true test of knowing something, teaching it to someone else and getting them to understand it, right?
Yeah.
How's it been with the other girls? Yeah.
Definitely. It's definitely something that I was like, oh gosh, I've got information in here. So no, it's definitely something that I've realized that, wow, I actually have been here 2 years, and not only has, this had got a lot of information in it, but as you said, we've recruited the team, which is amazing, and everyone has their bits of information that do help us. So Franny and I have been here in this role for 2 years now, but not only that, you know, Franny does have her contracts courses that she's done, which help assist us. And, you know, Karina has, you know, been in the industry as well in similar, you know, companies. So again, like her information that she has can help us as well. So I think that everybody has bits of information to provide, but yeah, it does sometimes scare me when some of the girls go, oh, you know, what's the quickest information? Or even if Franny goes, Caitlin, what would you do? And I'm like, oh, this. And I'm like, holy crap, that came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does shock me sometimes. So
it becomes part of your being. And a quick shout out to Kat as well. All of our clients that are inside our long-term coaching program all get a handwritten, signed by everybody in some way, shape, or form, birthday card every year. And there's also maybe a couple of little cheeky gifts that come your way when you're in the build. And guess who's got to package all them up? Guess who's got to take them down to the the post office? You know, and you know, even seeing that wonderful message from Jess Kay, who just received her little bloody baby towel that she just got. Like, it's so cool. I love the fact we've got the bandwidth. So we've got the wherewithal, we've got the funds and the resources, and we've got the bandwidth to be able to then send people, fucking hell, flowers for funerals, flowers for weddings, blankets for babies, and then a few other little bits and pieces when they're in the build. But that shit doesn't happen just love, trust, and pixie dust. There's got to be someone actually doing that. So well done, Kat. I know that you are. It's a thankless job, and that's why I'm thanking you now in a public space. But when we get such a great feedback, like, oh my God, thank you for this, and bloody no one ever sends me a handwritten note anymore. Like, you guys are the best. Mm-hmm. It's little things like that need to be done when you're working with such a close relationship, like we know veterans giving back to their defence community. Look at this cat. She says, I'm short enough to be a little elf, but I don't belong at the North Pole.
I was actually going to say, it's like she is like Santa's workshop. She's just getting everything ready for us. And it's like, oh my God. And she's like, Caitlin, Fran, you need to do this. Karina, can you do this? And I'm like, oh yeah, signing, giving,
cool.
Everything. And I'm like, good job. You're keeping us on track. Good job.
Thank you, Sammy. That means a lot, mate, to know that. I know that you feel that already, but for you to put that in a public space is amazing. The way you guys make clients feel is not just like friends, but well, first of all, we don't want to make it feel like a sterile transaction, like it's client for client. We absolutely want to make sure that we can become friends with you. But ultimately, if you become family and then you like really look after each other, is the ultimate way you can sort of, you know, do things from the provision of service point of view. Yeah, but again, all we're talking about now is the build support and client care department. So well done, girls. The results that you're getting, the traction you've got, the assistance you provide. You know, because here's the thing, you know, there's tens of thousands of components that go into building a house. And it's not like a machine builds a car where it's perfect and it's like absolute, like, you know, tiny, it can never be blemish free, ever.
Yes.
So if anyone's got the expectation that they're going to build a house and have it blemish free, defect free, yes, blemish free, extremely difficult. So even though the builders that we handpick and the builders that we select and the quality assurance and building inspection process that they all mandatory have to go through get to a point where it's fucking awesome at the end, to have an expectation there that it's going to be blemish free and not going to have a couple of little tiny things that could have been done a tiny bit better, but it's not listed as a defect. And of course, because there are humans hand making a massive structural building, there's obviously a couple of little tolerances that need to be involved, you know, and you can't take a photo from 30 centimeters away. It's got to be taken from 2 meters back. If you can't see it from 2 meters, it ain't a fucking blemish. So
I love what you're saying, Robbie, because even if you think about the QBCC and how they built the tolerance guide, that's why it exists, because no product is going to be perfect. Mm-hmm. Hence, the tolerance guide, deviations are accepted, and then they just describe what the deviation is and how much far off, you know, a specific finished product can be. So reaching perfection is impossible, but we obviously strive for achieving the best outcome possible inside of what's achievable.
I'll give you an example of that. stone bench top, which is around the cooktop and the area of our kitchen. On either side of that, there's an allowance of 4 mil tolerance between that and the wall. Ours was like 5.5, 6 mil. And I said to the builder, I'm like, what are you going to do about that? He's like, you can pay for another big stone bench to be put in. It's probably going to take a month for them to find it and cut it and bring it all over here and make it all perfect. Or we just put a little bit extra silicon through there and just do it all up. And I really had to go through my mind. I'm like, fuck me. Like it's more than 4 mil. How come it's 6 mil, not 4 mil? Because the fucking old mate bloody installer came in and didn't line it up bloody perfectly. But you know what? As soon as they put the silicon over it, now I never even see it again. But it's just it's a weird thing, especially when you're building your own dream home. There's a little bit of emotional capital, which is allowed to go towards it. Caitlin, you've been there, done that, right?
Yep.
But sometimes going to war about fucking 2 mil gap on something when it's going to be fixed and functional and it's going to be covered by warranty anyway, that if for some reason something was wrong with it, then it's listed the fact that it was outside tolerance. It's just not worth it sometimes.
No.
So it's a real balancing act that needs to go in there from an expectation point of view. Kieran, I'm just going to hit now, mate. I'm just going to share my screen. And girls, I'm just going to bring up what the standard Axon process guide is. Now, this is if someone can just let me know there in the chat whether they can see that, please. That'd be really, really handy. Actually, I've got that on a different tab now. So can you girls just let me know when that's sort of happening on the chat there, that someone can see that? Okay, amazing.
I can see that.
So this is part of our Axon process guide. You can see we're doing a 2024 revamp. Point to note, though, these photos here of a piece of dirt, a slab, a frame, enclosed / lockup, fixing and practical completion of one of my properties that Tamara and I built down in Point Cook in Victoria. I've already sold it by now. We built that property in 16. So they're photos of my actual house there that goes into this. So the process guide is we do not hand this out for free. But I want to be able to now use this as a bit of a conversation point, I suppose, just to give everyone a bit of a visual reference. I know, Fran and Caitlin, you've both worked very hard because builders have got little idiosyncrasies or anomalies as far as what happens exactly here, what happens exactly here, when they call for the build deposit. Sometimes the build deposit gets paid at land settlement. Sometimes the build deposit is not paid until after the building council approvals come through, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a few little anomalies there. And I know you've got an individual process and key timeframe slide for each builder. So when you do your build support introduction, Franny and Caitlin, you basically go, right, you're building with builder X. You've seen the generic one from the property specialist team, but here's one which is going to be now applied to your circumstances, right?
Correct. Yeah, the one you're showing now, it's the very core basic information on the process.
And at the very early stages when they're doing this is the very first briefs that they get after they've been accepted into our long-term coaching program. So it doesn't need to be too specific right now. We don't know what builder they're using. Like it can't be too specific, but it's a good little sort of at least slide to be able to use, to get to that point. So maybe, and of course, so once land settlement happens, then we sort of enter that building and council approval. So there's a little bridge. That little bridge is called Shania between the property specialist and the build support team. She's effectively she's been involved in it all the way back since the contract was struck. So she knows exactly what was in the property pack for the expression of interest to go down, what needs to be included, what things she needs to look out for in the contract space, any variations that may occur. And then she tracks it all the way through the finance approval and all the way through to land settlement. And then when the final working drawings and the council approvals come, that whole process kicks in. She's like, no, you forgot this little bit here from back there. So it's actually great, isn't it, girls, to have one person that her sole role is to take carriage of that. Caitlin, have you found a real added bit of support and clarity that when Shania gives you a pack and says, this is now good to go, it's watertight?
Oh, definitely. As I said, when doing a build support introduction, we research the client's life pretty much. We go through their plan, we go through their profile, their contracts, we go through, AC, and everything is already mapped out, laid out, variations, credits, everything is there, just for easy reading, which is super helpful. But not only is it super helpful for the build support team that are now taking on the client from the property specialists, it's really good for the client to know that, you have someone there that's, checking these things as well for you, because they are important documents. The clients do need to check them themselves, but, you do have another set of eyes that are saying, hey, listen, this door's changed. You're now getting this door, and it's all due to covenant approval, or there's not enough space. So, you've got someone there to ask those questions before they're even flagged.
It's a really good point, Fran. And you be able to speak, please, that even though there's a property pack provided, there were contracts that are struck and executed, and the bank has provided finance approval based on those contracts, and we've gone all the way to land settlement. When the covenant, which is the overall sort of rules of the road for that estate, and the council get involved, there can be an almost, what would you say with the percentages of be that there is more than likely going to be a couple of small changes, which is natural part of the course, but you don't need to be alarmed about.
Correct. And the changes could be, like Caitlin said, the door needs to be a specific way, or the fly screens at the front of the house can't be of a specific type. Roof colors need to be different. Minor variations are very likely to occur when you compare between the build contract, the original layout and selections, with when they are ready to go on site or getting the approvals to go on site. Yeah.
What do we have the other day? The builder had to move the house back 20 centimeters or 200 mil.
Yeah, so actually to the side about 40 mils, just to allow more open.
You're correct. Yes, to the side. And we were like, oh shit, can this be a variation? Does it have to be a whole new build contract? Deb got involved. She's like, oh, I'm not really sure what the value is going to say and whether this is going to fly through. So it does cause a bit of churn, mainly on our end, that the clients never ever find out about, except now. But this is why you've got us on your team anyway, to be able to sort of unfuck all this stuff for you anyway, or at least analyze it, assess it, resolve it, and then back brief you on it. And if there's any sort of extra things you guys need to sign, so at least you know there's a level of support and analysis going into making sure it's wired tight. Because then when we eventually get to the point whereby, all right, sweet, we've got the green light from everybody, and we've got the insurances in place from the builder, and the bank effectively drops the flag for the start of construction, there's pretty much no turning back from there.
Yes. And that's the point where you may be allowed to have discussions around amendments or further inclusions. But that review, as you just explained, is so important. And not only we have the knowledge and are able to navigate any issues with clients, we also know what's fair, what's not, what needs to be refunded or credited based on changes. So we're able to provide a whole new insight and make the admin process, which would be a nightmare if you're doing by yourself, make that as easy as possible.
It doesn't happen very often, but Shania is most proud. She comes to me, she's like, Robbie, I just got a $60 credit back. And I'm like, what for, mate? She's like, there were 2 less pavers down the side of the house. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. She goes, I picked it up. I'm like, that's amazing as well. I'm doing a very bad rendition of you, Shania. I know you're going to watch the thing, but the peace of mind that it gives me that there is someone that loves picking apart and supporting our clients and making sure that everything's wired tight before it goes to site is phenomenal. So it's
what's right is right.
That's correct. What's right is right. And when you and both of you are very good at this, as is everyone in the team, quite frankly, standing up for what's right is a skill. It takes courage, and sometimes some of the difficult conversations and robust conversations with builders and the like need to be done because what's right is right. So I guess the key takeaway there, team, on the back end, is that just rest assured that there's a level of analysis that we are putting forward that, again, is unmatched in the industry. No one else fucking really cares, but you know what? We do. It's in our best interest to do so. Franny, as a team leader there, do you want to maybe take us all the way through to enclosed? What's as a bit of a summary there? It's pretty much what happens.
Yeah, so as you mentioned before, when it comes to the first stage of construction, the deposit, it can either be due at land settlement or when after the building approvals arrive. It's basically a paper exercise. Now we have all the approvals in place. You pay the deposit to the builder, and then from there we go more onto the construction, or exciting real things happen at that stage. The first area we have there is the start of construction. This is when the works commence on site. Quite an important milestone for the client journey, as it is based on the start of construction that the contract period will start ticking. So if you have 180 to 245 to 145 days in your contract, it is from that day that it starts counting. Shortly after that, we should see the base or slab stage being completed. I think is one of the most exciting stages because you go from a piece of dirt to something real. And this slab is, I think one of our clients said the other day, I went to see my slab and it's a sexy piece of concrete.
It is actually.
That was the sexiest piece of concrete I've ever seen in my life.
It's smooth, it's flat, it's like fucking smooth like a baby's bum, but flat like a billiards table. And you're like, that's where my fucking house is going to stand. Like it is. I still remember now when I saw the slab on this house, I'm like, woo. The term sexy didn't come to mind, but as you are now saying it, it's absolutely what it is.
But not only that is the foundation for the home. So a very important step in the build process, as everything else will be built upon, that slab. Then we go on to the frame stage, which we call the skeleton of the house. You can start getting an idea of dimensions and room divisions. As you walk through the house, you can see where the hallway is and all the other rooms around that. Quite a short time.
Franny, just one thing that I'm just seeing a couple of little things that are poking up in there next to the slab. It's important that before the slab gets poured, all the services get put in.
Yes.
Storage, electricity, gas pipes. So if you go there and you see a bunch of like stuff sticking out of the slab and sticking out of the ground, then all those services that are going to be underground are like pre-dug beforehand, right?
Pre-done. So we've got underground plumbing and electrical, rough-ins. If you are seeing the property on a timeline perspective, first you have just the land, then they will prep the land to excavate it, then they will dig the holes, do all underground work. Once it's ready for the slab to set out to be done, you see some poles sticking out of the ground. Then they do the set out. Most of the houses nowadays have waffle pods, so they will lay out all the waffle pods and then proceed with pouring of the concrete thereafter.
So main point to note there, team, is if you are in the area and drive past your house and it's at that stage, it's actually going to be quite messy. It's not sexy at that stage, but the foreplay needs to occur to get all that stuff into the ground before the slab can then go ahead and take place. Neither of you, I was very impressed. Thank you.
And it's a stage where weather can really have an impact on the schedule as well.
Good point. Yes.
So all of the excavation work, prepping the land and pouring the concrete, if we don't have stable weather conditions, it can really impact the schedule. Some of our builders, for example, they will only confirm the start of construction date after the slab is laid, because they want to make sure that they get the correct time frame for that first period to occur and get the start date. Correct.
So make a note of it. Go, right, we went out on site this date, but when the slab got poured, but then bang, inform everyone from there. So it's not a bad way of doing it.
No,
it's just eliminating all the risk for them. Because
I think it's fair if they can't work. Why would you issue a start of construction and then on the first week or 2 weeks you're already having to issue extension of time claim because they're not able to work? So look, there's what some builders are start of construction first and they're happy to take that risk and then overcome any delays with the schedule ahead of towards the end of construction. And others prefer to be a bit more conservative. There is no right or wrong. As I said before, the picture we have on the screen at the moment is just the core knowledge and processes. Yeah,
perfect. So the frame you spoke about, the skeleton is a perfect term for that. It's exactly what it is. You can see generally the windows are sort of sitting in there, as well. And then, so they're very sequential in nature. You can't be working on the frame while the slab's being poured, of course. And then you want to be able to make sure that the slab gets inspected by a certifier and the council. And then the certifier and the council also need to go and check the frame. So effectively, those two things are known as the superstructure of the house. Then we can start to do some of the more cosmetic stuff, Franny. So what's it like when you see a bit of wrapping on the house and the roof on and all that sort of stuff?
Very exciting. So you see a roof. I don't know. I feel like another huge milestone where it's just not just a whole open space. So the roof is installed, and then they will start wrapping of the house with a protective material, weather, heat, cold, and so on. And then from there, they can install windows, and then starts becoming this, at least from the outside, this more real. The house is more real. You can really see it start taking shape.
What we can also see at that stage is that that's effectively the trigger for the builder to start doing as much concurrent activity as practical.
Yes. So once the roof is done, wrapping is done, windows are done, they can start working internally and externally at the same time as they see fit, as possible, depending on trade availability. But they all aim for that concurrent activity to take place.
Yeah, beautiful. And you can see there as well, Franny, that another really important milestone that's very unique to Axon. If you see anyone else doing it, they got it from me. We introduced the property manager or the rental manager at the end of the frame stage. Yeah.
I thought you forgot about it.
No, it's on the screen there, mate.
I know. But yeah, so we will recommend you or being introduced to your Axon recommended property manager. And sometimes I get the question, why so early on in the process? Like, I barely have a house. Why would I appoint a property manager at this stage? And look, the reason for it is so you can build a relationship with them. And yes, the house is still in the early days, but construction happens really fast. And when you blink, you're at the end of it. So it's really important that you get to know them. And once an agreement is in place, what can happen from that is we can keep them updated on the build progress. For us, and I'm sure we'll cover this down the track today, is it's all about timings. It's all about the relationship and know what you're doing. So once they know what's going on with the house, they're able to prepare themselves, continue to do an analysis on the market so they know the trend. If you get just to the end of it and you think about the price of that month, you don't have the perspective of, is that high? Is that low? Does it have the potential to increase? So it's just, having that early awareness and relationship with the property manager.
It's a no-brainer. It could be perceived that it's a little bit early, but a property, as an investment property, the property manager is going to be the most important person on your team for the life of the property. Mm-hmm. The solicitor's been and gone. The mortgage broker's been and gone. Sure, you get your tax done every year and you're going to go speak to your financial planner about future proofing stuff. But the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month hash and trash of someone looking after the other humans that are living in your property and paying you good money to do so, that's the property manager or the rental manager. So you got to, be, and as part of this brief, and certainly as part of the risk management guide that goes along with this, is that we teach you how to be a good landlord and we teach you how to be the benefits of having a really great relationship with your property or rental manager. It is a fucking no-brainer. If you are a dickhead landlord that wants to raise the rent all the time, doesn't want to fix shit in the property, just fucking wants to blame the bloody tenant for everything all the time, and you're abusing or not being very nice to your property manager, you're going to fucking hate being a landlord. Like, go do something else. Go and work in another asset class because this ain't for you. But when you switch your mindset, have your Axons working properly. I've loved all of my property managers over my 20 plus year career and being a property investor, and I've never had a tenant issue.
That's amazing.
Bit of luck involved there, no doubt about it. But at least when you're inside each other's OODA loop from a property management perspective, they know what sort of tenant I want. They know like everything about what I would prefer in that property, and then obviously they go find that for me. So it's really, really critical that we get to that done. So, I mean, really up until the enclosure lockup phase, apart from a little tangent on speaking to the property manager, how much involvement has there been from the client so far, Franny?
Hopefully zero. Apart from signing some invoices.
Correct. All they've done is sign some invoices. They've signed the build, 1, 2, they've signed 4 invoices so far. Yeah. And now they've got a house which has got a roof, it's got walls, it's got, we're at lockup stage. And now we can basically switch gears and do all the stuff internal fixing.
Correct.
I love what you said before about the concurrent activity of the inside and outside. Our builders, there's only one builder we use which has a defense mindset, that has a veterans/military background, and they are the ones that build the house the fastest because he embraces concurrent activity. But the other builders have certainly been cottoning on lately as we've really fully come out of the whole COVID bubble now. whereby things were just taking so fucking long. If they could get stuff done quicker and have that concurrent activity happen, like there's nothing wrong with having the brickie and the cabinet maker there at the same time. Brickie's putting bloody bricks on the houses and the cabinet maker's building the kitchen. Get it done.
Get it done.
There's a lot of synchronization that needs to occur there. And, as opposed to waiting for the bricks to be done and then getting the cabinet maker in it, like it just that doesn't make sense. The other really
everyone.
Say again, please.
It benefits everyone. Quicker build. It's good for the builder. They can move on to another project, and so is for the homeowner or the investor. They can just get the build faster and go on with the investment plans.
Great. Sorry, Caitlin. Let's switch to you now. One of the events I know you love doing is a fixing coaching call. So again, very unique to Axon. We now jump on it. The four of you that are in the build support team, Lauren, Karina, and you two, jump on a fixing call with our clients and go, right, hey, look at this. Now we've got all the internal stuff done. All the cabinetry's done, all the waterproofing's done, all the tiling's done, the flooring's laid, fucking, etc. So there's a real house sitting there now. Tell us, Caitlin, about what you speak about during the fixing call, because you can see with those other arrows that are all sort of facing towards fixing practical completion, it does start to get a little bit more involved with the clients as we get to the end of the build. So, because there's some other key players that it's not they should be involved, they must be involved. Caitlin, give us a little wrap up.
Yeah, definitely. So the fixing call is one of my favorites because we've passed the fixing stage, or we've just received the claim. So we've received the progress photos for the build, and 9 times out of 10, every single client's like, holy shit, it's getting real. So that's a really exciting part. But on the call, we pretty much simplify exactly what's going to happen at practical completion. So what we need from the client, but what the client is also going to get from us in return. So we go through everything like the building and landlord's insurance. We go through the defect inspections. We go through how the practical completion claim submission process will be as well. We talk about the bank inspection, and then bringing that property manager back in for the client and talking about the listing process as well. So really, really in-depth call. We just cover absolutely everything, try and answer as many questions that clients have as possible, which at the end of the calls isn't really much because of how much we speak. But yeah, we just make it as simple and stress-free as easy, just like the entire build. We just show them exactly what they need to do, which is at the end of the day, potentially taking care of a few invoices and doing a few signatures. Yeah,
I mean, it's really cool that that they get the opportunity now of looking at it, perhaps a couple of different policies when it comes to building and landlord's insurances. The reason why I've got landlord there, you don't need landlord's insurances if you're moving into your own home.
Yep.
So that's a little process to go through. It's certainly appointing an independent building inspector to make sure that the house is built to the right quality, the house is built to the Australian standards, and we want to be able to, identify as soon as we can if the house has got any major or minor defects. So, we're seeing as a bit of a trend now, girls. This is a pretty hot off the press. Even someone like you, Sammy's been following us for a long time, just to make things. So there's a couple of smart. I think it's smart anyway. Smart strategic moves that are being made by some builders and building inspectors that we have been working with recently with no influence from us. In fact, we've been notified, haven't we, girls, that this has just occurred.
Yes.
So one of the building inspectors that we've been using for many years, he's decided to align himself with a couple of builders. And it's like, as opposed to a random person giving him a call to go and do a random building inspection, he's like, I'm now going to be, they're not employed by the builder. They can still completely independent from the builder, but it just makes sense for them that they've now got effectively a work in progress schedule of they know what house they're inspecting at any one time, because that builder's obviously got a huge schedule that they can then put in place as well. So normally when I was informed of this, the reason why I gave it the green light is because they're working with a building inspector that we have worked with for many years and trust implicitly. So I guess when we're talking about the independent building inspection phase, is that you don't want to have the builder and the building inspector then start to be working together and then the building inspector's overlooking some of the defects just to stay on the good side of the builder, for instance. So it's you don't want there to be a conflict of interest there. But at the end of the day, it's a smart move. The booking process is easier. Like the building inspectors inside the OODA loop schedule of the builder, so then they know they can basically allocate when they're going to go there, as opposed to someone ringing up going, "Hey, I'm just ready now. Can you guys get there in 5 days?" And they're like, "Mate, we booked out for 3 weeks." So there's an element of efficiency. Look at both of you having a bright smile on your face, going, "That fucking happens all the time." So there's an element of efficiency that goes towards it, but so we're seeing how that goes. It's only just started, but please rest assured, in the same way as what Shania was going through, the contracts and the building and council approvals and the fucking 8 steps, which is only 6, for instance, we also get sent a report of the first practical completion inspection, and we go through it like a dose of salt. And guess what? Because the majority of the builds here are in Southeast Queensland, we're located in Southeast Queensland. What are you girls doing once a week? You're out there and you're going to the houses as well, wherever possible, to be able to make sure that your set of eyeballs with that report, that you can walk through the house and see things for yourself. Franny, I know you've been intimately involved in this for the last little while. Just give us a bit of an insight for you about how much of an important step this is to make sure that there is even though the builders we use provide a fantastic product, having a fresh set of eyes from a licensed building inspector to go through the place is like literally worth its weight in gold. Yeah.
Absolutely. And look, builders will have their own internal quality control processes. They have the knowledge. They all care about the finished product, but having those additional set of eyes to go through the property with a owner/investor mindset. So, they go in there as if it was their own house, and they have that building knowledge. Just to see things in a different way really adds value to the entire process. Essentially, it's just an additional peace of mind that someone else has overlooked the work. And they're there, as I mentioned, with your best interest at heart to highlight any concerns.
Yeah. Girls, can you just give me a bit of an insight into what would be considered a normal amount of defects that's found on a building, on a first practical completion inspection, or PCI? That's a bit of jargon that you need to get used to. So practical completion is obviously PC, and then the PCI is the practical completion inspection. That's what it's known as. So first PCI, how many is normally found on a, what would you consider like, okay, that's a good report?
Look, I usually say between 20 to 30 items is fairly common. As you just mentioned, practical completion, as the name says, is practically complete. The house is not handover ready. Good point. It is common to come across a few items throughout the property. And they can be paint, they can be minor fixtures and fittings. Essentially, we are getting there with completion. So 20 to 30, I said, will be fairly normal.
Yeah, great. I've actually got a couple of examples here. I just looked at it the other day. Can you guys see that now on your screen?
Yeah.
There you go. So this is another little slide there. So you can basically see that this is the level of detail. You can see there's a tiny bit of stuff on the brickwork there, which is not quite right. Just little tiny blemishes and little tiny imperfections. But if there's a little sticker next to it, the building inspector's like, hey, that now needs to go back. You need to go back and now basically fix that up for you, for the owner. So that's a bit of an example.
I think the biggest thing too for like all of our clients or future clients to also realize is, as you said, Robbie, we do go through these reports with a fine tooth comb. We check out every single item that is listed, because here we are looking at the, updated Axon process guide, but from those photos alone, I could tell exactly what house I was looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a very good memory, but I was like, I know that house. I know
that report was only done with your client like on Monday.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's hot off the press, ladies and gents. We're bringing a brand new, literally March 2024 process of risk guide coming your way. But that's good, But so some people might be listening to this and go, 30 things that are wrong. The builder must have done a shit job.
No.
But no, you want the building inspector. This is the way I characterize it. So you can look at it like that with a glass half empty viewpoint, or you can look at it like this and go, fuck, how good was the building inspector? The builder put his hand up and said, it's good to go, and they still found 30 things wrong. I'm so glad I've got that. It's a guy. I haven't come across any female building inspectors. So glad I've got that guy on my team. He's now, it's almost like the worst ever CO's room inspection that you've ever had, ladies and gents, in the military. But this time, the CO's on your side, not fucking going to give you extras when you don't have your shit together. So it's a real change of mindset there that you want to be able to have that there. So then, Caitlin, of course, we've got something in reserve, haven't we? We've got a second building inspection that can be organised. Tell us about that.
Yes, yeah. So we have the second building inspection if needed. If you need the peace of mind or would like the peace of mind to go ahead. And we use that second inspection. So the exact same inspector goes out to the property and checks over every single item that was highlighted on the first report. Now, we do say to clients and potentially identify new ones because, accidents do happen. Sometimes this can happen, not all the time. But they go back and they check out all the items that were highlighted on the first report. Yeah,
it's if a report comes through and it's got 22 items on it and 15 of those are paint related, and those other 7 items just needed a little silicone touch up here and there, and the builder's already said that we've already fixed those, why would you pay someone $300 to go out there and go, yeah, I've seen it? You've already been provided photos, and the little paint blemishes are already going to be taken care of as well. So again, it's a case-by-case basis, and we will provide you, team, a recommendation about whether we think that a second inspection would be warranted or not. And, quite frankly, if it goes to that point, someone's in a car fucking driving out there and go, let me go have a look for myself. So it's one of the great conveniences that we've got, I suppose, as far as having everything so close here. So that's all right. That's all good. The bank does a bit of inspection. Franny, maybe quickly give us a quick wrap up as far as when the practical completion invoice is raised. And in the background, concurrently, we've got all the insurances being put in place. Property manager goes there and takes some photos, etc., so they can start putting that up online. But just tell us about the actual submission of the PC claim, and what else does the client need to be able to provide you with the PC claim to effectively allow the builder to stop having responsibility of the property, and the new owner then takes it going forward.
Yeah, so the final claim will also receive the Form 21 or occupancy certificate. It's a very important piece of document. You will need that document if your property is an investment one and you will have tenants occupying it. It's a no-go if you don't have available once you want tenants in the house. And alongside those documents, you also have the insurance certificate, which will need to be provided to your lender so they can organize the final payment. Now, we have a little arrow there saying bank inspection. I love talking about this one because clients often think that the bank will go out and do a valuation on the property, see how much it's worth. It's not about that. The bank inspection / valuation, it's essentially just a physical check from the lender side that the house exists, all the inclusions are there, they're happy with the product, and to release the final funds to the builder. And it's not a quality inspection as well. It's a bit of a tick and flick. It's just like, do we have a 4-bedroom house with a such and such oven and all these inclusions? Yes. Okay, we are happy to proceed with the final funds payment.
Yeah.
In the meantime, the builder is then working through the defects list, and then we proceed on to the most exciting, second most exciting step in the journey, that is the handover of the property. That is dependent on final funds and defects being cleared. Something that's very important to keep in mind.
So it's a key point to note there, team. We're going to go over by a few minutes, by the way, because it took us a little while to get started. Don't dilly-dally. Fuck, that's an old term, isn't it? Don't procrastinate on what insurance policy you want, because if you're still trying to get your insurances in place, the bank ain't going to release the final funds. So you need to have Form 21 done, all the defects cleared, and your insurance is in place with the signed PC claim for you directly or our team to be able to submit that to the bank on your behalf. So it's actually quite a formal process. A little bit like the bank. Yeah, a little bit like the bank won't say to the builder, you are cleared to commence construction, because the builder's got to provide the bank their insurance policy. So someone's got to have hold of the vine from an insurance perspective whilst the construction is happening. And then you've got to have your hand on the same vine. I said vine, and that before the builder will release, and then you can take it forward going from there. So make sure your insurances are in place, and don't bloody procrastinate over it too much.
Well, that's why the Build Support team is here to help you make sure that timeline is perfect, so you're not delaying anything towards.
Yes. So if we're giving you a little nudge about things, it's for a reason. We're not being a pain in the ass. We're like, hey, for things to get done as soon as practical. Because remember, every day that goes by, you're paying interest on the loan since land settlement. So it is in your best interest to make sure that what you're in control of, when the ball's in your court, action your shit and hit it back to someone else. It's only going to serve you better going forward. Girls, just quickly give us a bit of an idea about once the keys are handed over. Of course, the property manager has been, harvesting interest of the property so far across all of our different areas. And this is something I know you're both very proud of. How many days or weeks is it on average from key handover to tenants being found?
You go, Caitlin.
Well, in some really good cases, it is, we have had some clients that have gotten tenants assigned lease before handover because our property managers work extremely hard. But the average right now is a week that we are seeing, clients get a signed lease in place, which is great to see. It's the biggest for me. This is my favorite part as well. Just getting a signed lease in place and sending that message, that email to the client with their coach, their property manager, their property specialist, build support, and clients in saying, congratulations, you've got tenants. That's the biggest step, and that's what we're seeing right now. Yeah, so good. Or of course, once handover happens, then the owner occupiers that have bought the house, then the keys are open and they drop the locks and bloody move in, which is cool. Depreciation report's pretty simple. It's same sort of deal there. The girls basically get your concurrence to be able to then go and order the depreciation report. The depreciation report gets done, and then obviously it doesn't get released to you until you then pay the invoice. So it's normally $770 to get a depreciation report done. We get it for $385. Guess how much you guys get it for? $385. So you're getting it for effectively half price there. That's the rack rate we get. We use Washington Brown, which is a second biggest depreciation or quantity survey team in Australia. And, they've now bloody provided 500 depreciation reports for our clients, give or take. So, you're really, really getting looked after there. And then it's just bloody set and forget. Make sure your taxes are in order. Make sure you get your taxes done on time. You learn during this brief here about putting a PRYG variation order in place. I won't go into that right now because we're 2 minutes over time, but that's another way to, maintain your cash flow. So, yeah, that's effectively from go to woe, ladies and gents. I'll stop sharing my screen now. We can sort of go back to speaking face to face. Girls, thank you so much for joining me. I know that no matter if it was clients like Sammy and her mate that have, building a couple of houses with us and continuing to refer some of their friends that have been in the Axon ecosystem for a few years, or someone that's watching this now for the first time going, holy shit, I had no idea that they, go to that level of detail. Well, this is just a wave top summary. If we were to show you our back-end system and show you all the checks and balances and show you the fact that even I drop everything once a week and go into our boardroom and we go through each property line by line by line by line, and the questions are coming thick and fast from me, aren't they, girls?
Yeah.
What about this? What about this? And the other coaches. So the coaches are still emotionally involved in what your build is going on, even though we're not doing the day-to-day, week-to-week hash and trash of it. So it is something we care deeply about. No one ever comes back to Axon based on an awesome micro timeline that one of the coaches did. No one ever comes back to Axon based on an awesome property pack that one of the amazing property specialists done. Every single person that comes back to Axon, though, of which almost everyone that does, is based on their experience in the build support team. So, Franny, you're an amazing leader. Caitlin, you're an amazing 2IC. Effectively, you've been there the second longest, and the way you're mentoring the other girls, it's absolutely critical that I need you to love what you're doing and care for our clients in the way that you are. And I know that neither of you are going anywhere anytime soon, except for up and except for deeper into the Axon ecosystem. Thank you so much for everything you do. I hope that both of everyone that can see that the girls here and the other parts of the team there are back there loving doing what they're doing, and no stone shall go unturned. So to make sure that you guys have an amazing build experience. Caitlin, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Oh, I bloody love Axon. I really do. No, honestly, I think this live has covered a lot of the top level tasks that we do. But yes, just coming into the Axon OODA loop and learning exactly what we do on the back end. And sometimes the clients get to the end and they're like, wow, I didn't realize you also done XYZ in the back. And I'm like, because I'm here. I'm your woman. Like, but
Me,
yeah.
not many people have bloody thrown a OODA loop back at me. Well done, buddy. Well played.
Sorry.
On a word from you, the amazing Franny.
Oh, it's absolute pleasure to be part of the team and this amazing process that makes, from paper to real life. Love it, every second of it, and seeing the smile on the clients' faces at the end is just priceless.
Fantastic. Righto, we'll be back next month, team. Put it in your diary if you're anywhere near. Hello, champion.
I couldn't miss one, mate. Even though you sacked me for the night, I had to say hello. Hey, everyone.
Never sacked, mate. Everyone else got an upgrade. I'd rather be looking at Franny than you any day. But 20th or the 21st of June, Brisbane meetup. Be there. It'll be in the city, Fortitude Valley somewhere. Look forward to catching up with everyone there. Kieran, great job on the back end. That's it. See you later, ladies and gents. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye.